Our next speaker this evening is Dr. Salim Ghayyda. He's a consultant paediatrician at Raigmore Hospital who's worked and lived in the Highlands for the last 11 years. He was born and bred in Gaza, and his family are generations of Palestinians who have always lived in Palestine. Salim trained and worked in a number of hospitals in Gaza, many of which have since sadly been destroyed. He naturalised as a British citizen 20 years ago. Salim will speak about his experience and give you a glimpse into his and his family's journey throughout history from 1948 until now, including his ongoing efforts to help his family currently trapped in Gaza.
I need to put my gloves on. Hi everyone, and thank you for coming. It's quite emotional, to be honest, to be here on stage. I prepared the speech, but I don't think I can see it, so I'm going to throw it away.
Do you want the blinker? Yeah, the lights you need to switch on at least one light.
No, if I stay by script, it will take an hour, because I needed to say a lot. But what I'm going to do in 10 minutes is to go through some slides, and it's very emotional because this is my life growing up in Gaza, and it's flashbacks, it's trauma. You will have a psychologist speaking after me, but this is my trauma and my family's trauma. Lisa talks about Palestinians being humans. This is me. I am Palestinian, I am human. I treat your children, so you trust me with your children. I've just done a clinic this afternoon. But anyway, I didn't really know what to name my talk, so I left it black, just to give you the mood of the situation. And this is Mahmoud Darwish. He's like the national revolutionary poet of Palestine. He has died. He's only younger than me by 1 year. Next slide, please. He looks like me, doesn't he? Yeah? This is my grandfather. I was called after him. His name is Salim, as me. He was born in 1910, so he's older than the state of Israel. He was born in Lit, and he was forced with the rest of his family, including my great-grandfather, uncles, you name it. They were forced to leave their city, which is now Israel. Actually, he ended up going to Lebanon, Sarah, by the way. Sarah is Lebanese, she was one speaker. And this is because he had to make a painful choice. Does he follow his sister, who had no one to look after, or does he follow his wife and children who were going to Gaza on foot? And he was injured by Israelis. He was imprisoned. They took him to Lebanon, and eventually he ended up going back in Gaza. He died, probably I was maybe 4 years, so I can't really remember a lot of him. This is my grandmother, Zohra. Oh, she's very strong. You don't want to be sitting in front of her. She was from Jaffa, which is another city inside Israel now. And she agreed to marry my grandfather despite the fact that she's very posh, or used to be very posh. She's almost like a socialite coming from a very, posh trade family. She did die when I was in the UK. I can't remember the date, probably was 2006. So both of them are generations of Palestinians where they had been ethnically cleansed from their own houses. And it's all started in the UK, by the way. Because of the UK legacy of colonialism. They just gave us on a plate to Israelis to create a state, not realizing there are native Palestinians living on that land. And this is how it started, where Palestinians lived everywhere on that first map. Now this is what it's been reduced to. And despite all of this, the vast majority of us Palestinians are saying, it's okay, we can accept that, let us live. We can live on this part, only the very, very small part, but let us live. Let us have a state. We agree, it's fine, we are not going to throw the Israelis into the sea. No, this is not what you want. Next. And then I thought, what is the first thing comes to my mind deep down when I remember growing up in Gaza, in terms of what was my first exposure to an Israeli. And this was my first. And it's always there, every time I remember the soldiers coming into the shop with their weapons. I can't remember anything else. It was peaceful at the time. This was probably 1980. But I've never met any other Israeli apart from a soldier at that phase of my life when I was around 10. Next. Just a quote. And then the first intifada starts. Of course, the media will tell you the first intifada is Palestinian terrorists wanting to kill Jews, etc. No. I was a teenager, I lived it. I was 15, 16. And actually all we wanted, it was very civil. Our weapons were stones sometimes. Otherwise, we will put a flag up on a post or write a graffiti, Free Palestine, and this is what they did to us. I was beaten, I was punched, my face was bloody. This was my experience. There was a period when I was 16, there was a prime minister of Israel called Rabin. He invented something, broken bones policy. So I've experienced it firsthand. And one night, I was asleep in my bed, and then my mom wakes me up saying, Salim, of course I was used to it because there was nightly raid. Oh, again, they want us to go out, the soldiers, and bring down a Palestinian flag from a high voltage electricity line. No, they are rounding men out, they are beating them, they are breaking. I'm really sorry, I need more than 2 minutes. And she was like, no, you need to jump. So she made me jump into our neighbor's house. And this lovely lady, her son has already been taken out to be beaten and bones broken. And she hid me under her own bed. And I spent the night there. This memory will never leave me, never left me. This is my personal trauma. And why I put this image? For different reasons. There was glimpses of I wanted to see what Israel is like. It was open when I was a teenager, so I took the bus and I went to Tel Aviv because I was looking for rebellious teenager against my mom's wishes. I wanted a job, and of course the jobs I was offered either were like rubbish collector or washing plates in the kitchen, etc. Of course, my family didn't agree. But this is what, Palestinians, not me necessarily, go through when they went to Israel for work. Special roads, wires paths, and the other photo I put there of the man, if you go back, please. Imagine this is my dad. This was 2010, I was in UK and I was told your dad had a heart attack in Gaza. So he was in the hospital and then they treated him well. You've heard about the healthcare. It was good for a secondary care, but he was told you need a stent, which is, into his coronaries, and he needed, the only place he had to go was to Israel because we didn't have this facility. Thank you. And you know what? It's okay. Days and days he waited for a permit he was in his 60s, but you have to wait a permit. You can't just go. And then this is what they did to him. They made him walk with unstable angina through these wires you've seen for 10-15 minutes to get to the ambulance on the other side. They did not allow him an ambulance. And this was peaceful time. This is what Palestinians have been living. Apartheid, after killing, after... Next slide. At Shifa Hospital, I walked the corridors of this hospital. I did my first operation, I assisted my first operation. I delivered the first baby in the obstetric, etc., etc., etc. You were shown how it looked in the left tip, and this is what's become of it. And for what? For a lie, propaganda. And you believe it. No, I'm really sorry. This is all planned. In my opinion, this genocide has been in planning for 76 years. And this is the ultimate crux of it. Because I've experienced it firsthand. This is the photo which shocked me as a pediatrician. These premature babies were in a Shifa Hospital SCABU, which is a good SCABU, by the way. And because they cut off electricity of special care baby units, they had no oxygen, not because they didn't have incubators, but they had no heat source. So they had to put these babies in this place where they had one source of whatever electricity or heating. And I followed these babies. Some of them died on the way out from Gaza. And it's just heartbreaking. Next slide, please. This is me, by the way, in that ambulance. And I'm not joking. And I'm not putting lies. Yes, the ambulance I was in when I had my first job. I'm from Gaza. So if you get us to know Palestinians, of course we do have factions. You are from Gaza, you're from Khan Yunis, you're from the north, you are from the south. So I was from Gaza City. You see, and they sent me all the way to the south to work as my first job. That's okay, I did it because I wanted some money. But during that time, Israel was still there occupying Gaza, and I had to every day go through what you call now Netzarim checkpoints. And what broke it for me and my family, I was shot at with a patient in the ambulance. I had to duck, I was nearly killed, similar to the many healthcare workers who have been killed by Israel for the last 9 months. So this is not new. This has been happening for 76 years. So I could have been that person in that ambulance. And this is, by the way, I think, oh gosh, this is Nasser Hospital. And I did work, by the way, in Khan Yunis, I was in Nasser Hospital. I did A&E and an intensive care there. Next slide, please. Another shocking memory. This is the same unit. It's the pediatric intensive care unit in the children's hospital. It's called Nasser. I know there's kind of, where you put your... But anyway, it's the children's hospital in Gaza. Two situations. This is when he's very happy, healthy. He is in his 80s, and he's with 2 of his grandchildren. But guess what? One grandchild is with him in Egypt at the moment because of the generosity of people of Scotland. I raised money and I managed to evacuate him from Gaza to Egypt. And as well as one of my brothers. And that's why one of my nephews, the smiling boy, Nabil, he's in Egypt. But unfortunately, the little girl is still in Gaza. And the news I'm hearing are just horrific every day. Every day, constantly, daily massacres. You guys don't see it, I do. And I go and cry every day after I finish my work. And all I see is babies, children, women, men being massacred, killed, amputated, etc. So my family are now still in Gaza, 24 of them. This is not counting my cousins, etc. And I can't get them out. And I don't know if this genocidal war doesn't stop, they will die. And if you keep quiet and you keep silent and you don't at least speak up, at least, the least you can do, this is what's happening to people in Gaza like me. And thank you very much.